What is up? We are live and we are in the Grit and Grace Facebook page. I almost said Facebook group, but we're not a group, we're a page.
We're not a group. We don't sing very well.
No. Well, depends on what we're singing about. I mean, I did a pretty good song, if you remember, right? But, there's another one that I've been working on, and one of these days I just might pull it out. Not the
Oh my God.
the song. Not a penis song either. It's a different song also. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. That was a lot of fun to do. I thought it was great anyway.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
RCA is not banging on my door though. They do not want to sign me for any reason whatsoever. I can't imagine why.
Damn.
But it is what it is. So how was your week?
Excellent. Good. It was good. Other than today, totally unproductive. Didn't like it. Don't like that at all. But other than that, yeah, did some great stuff. Made some great connections this week. And yeah.
I wish I could
Going
say
into
that.
the last quarter.
I wish I could say that I got anything done that I wanted to get done. I've got a lot of stuff done that I had to get done. But I think I'm going into my first weekend in over a month that I'll have to myself. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. So guess what I'll be doing?
That's cool.
You'll
be doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on the network stuff that
That's right.
Been working with Bobby, talking with Bobby about it. We hopefully will get some more time to actually discuss what his vision and my vision are again, and we will definitely be putting that out there sometime, probably this winter, hopefully before 2018. That's my hopes.
It's funny, how all this stuff is like, it is work, but it's play.
Oh, it is. Very much
it's total play.
And the thing that I'm most excited about is it's going to be one of these. I mean, there's other networks out there. I've seen them all over the place. Hell, even the Trailer Park Boys have their own network. But this one here, Bobby and I got a pretty cool little idea what we want to see come out, and I think we're going to have a whole lot of fun doing it.
I think so. Yeah.
I just shared this to the wrong page. And while you guys are out there, why don't you share it to your pages as well? Just don't share it to the wrong page like I just did.
Oh, funny. Well, So I got to say I'm pretty surprised. I don't know if you saw, so tonight's topic, we're going to talk about, should you ever get back with your ex? So I don't know if you saw, I'd posted putting that question out there, that exact question. Did you see me post that? I got about 27 comments on that post, and it was really surprising.
Yeah, I think that is one of those things that a lot of people struggle with. They break up for whatever reason, and then something comes out. It always seems to be there's a short period of time where you have a window where you either make the choice to go back or you don't. And it's one of those things that we all face during a breakup.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I was kind of it was kind of heartwarming to see the comments, and I expected flat out no's or yes, and I expected mostly no's, and that wasn't the case. It was, I think there was about, out of 27 comments, there was only 3 flat out no's. One was from a coach, which really surprised me. And I had a few people comment saying, yes, it happened to me, and we've been together for this many years, and it's fantastic and better than ever. A lot of the comments about, should you ever get back together with your ex? A lot of them were like, it depends. Sometimes it's bad timing. Sometimes, it's many years later. We've grown up. We've matured. The things that were issues are no longer issues anymore. There aren't those triggers anymore. And a lot of people shared some really great, heartwarming stories, but I was really expecting, no, they're an ex for a reason. And it was really surprising to me. It wasn't the answers that I thought. So it was good to see that people, there's some self-awareness there that, we do change over time. We do evolve. We don't stay that same person. We've learned lessons. So, it is possible. I think it is possible. And so it was really great to see. I was really surprised. So I'm looking forward to talking about this, sharing our own different things. And then we've got like 5 reasons why not, and 5 reasons why you should get back together. So we can run through them quickly and share our stories.
It's really a toss-up then. I mean, if there's 5 and 5, everybody's got their own reasons. And because everybody has their own reasons, share them in the chat. What you think, one way or the other. Do you think that it's a good idea, or do you think it's a bad idea? And if you're around while we're going through these 5 reasons, and if you have one that you can maybe tip the scale one way or the other, please share that as well. We love seeing what your comments are, because that really helps kind of move us through our own stories. So please play part, comment, share, like, whichever.
Share your story. If you got back together with your ex and it's turned out to be a great story, share that with us, because people like to hear these stories. I think it's so great when you hear these stories of great, strong relationships and these stories of love that, people have come back together and decided that they were going to really, make it work. I think share that story.
Absolutely. We all want to hear that. Everybody, because your stories will help somebody else who's going through something similar right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's important to share this out. Share it out. If you know somebody maybe that's considering getting back together with their ex and they're debating it, or, we want to open people's minds. That's why we're talking about this, and not just be flat out, no, never get back together with your ex, because you could be missing out on something great. So share away, please. So you have a story of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, my story doesn't take place all that long ago. There was a point where, I thought maybe me and the wife would be better off split up. So I went my way, she went her way. Now, we didn't get a divorce or anything like that. We just went through a short separation. And during that separation, we determined that we were so much better together than we were apart. One day I just happened to go over because we wanted that, we wanted to open up that communication. We wanted to talk about what it was that we couldn't talk about while we were together. And because of that separation, it brought us together stronger, because we learned how to communicate with each other what we needed from each other. And that was huge. Mm-hmm. That was really huge for us, because without that separation, it would have just continued to go on the way it was. Neither one of us communicating what our thoughts or feelings were. And yes, guys, we got to communicate our feelings with our women. Otherwise, they don't know how to handle the situation that we are going through, because women are primarily emotional, feely people. They deal really well with feelings. So share your feelings.
Yeah. And we need to understand too that if, just because you're not sharing it the way we would share it doesn't mean you don't have them, and doesn't mean you don't feel anything. But yeah, that definitely has a disconnect there, right? We have to give each other a break on that, because we're different. So, yeah. But I like that, because you know what, when you're in a relationship, it's like, I think you can get stuck, like you were saying, in terms of communicating. When you split, then it's sort of like you find out whether, like, wow, that thing that really matters to me is really on the line. So then you're going to put your neck out a little bit more. You're going to make a little bit more of that effort to do what it takes. And this sort of like, this is our time. Now I'm really got to step up, and I got to share. And and do the work to communicate in a way that is going to make a difference, and it's going to, you know,
Definitely.
make or break. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's dive into some of those tips here, and then we'll kind of break in when we see some comments, because I'm sure that's what they're waiting for, is to maybe see what some of those are. And then when you have a story, because I know you've kind of gone through something similar, when you feel that your story can just kind of add to my lack of ability, go for it.
You know, I don't think my story fits with any of these points. So let's start with 5 reasons why you should not get back together with your ex. And the first one is they were the best thing or your favorite thing ever in your life. Now, what in meaning that some people will make their partner their whole world, to the point where they exclude everything and they don't have their own life. And it's important to have your own identity and your own life separate from your partner. They could be the best thing that ever happened to you, but it shouldn't be the only best thing that happens to you.
Right. And I know a guy right now that's going through this exact thing, and it's causing so much pain in his life, and it actually affects his work life as well. And
that's different. Men aren't usually like that.
Well, you wouldn't think so, but you know, this guy, he had a child with the woman, and they're together, but it's like they're together at her convenience.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So he constantly battles back and forth. Should I leave? Should I stay? And they've broke it off before, and they've gotten back together. And I'm pretty sure that they probably would have been better off just staying apart in this case, because, like you were saying, they were she was his best and only thing going on in the world.
Oh, yeah. See? And so that adds another thing. Don't get back together just because you have a child.
Right. Well, they had the child.
We can throw that one in.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one, because I think a lot of people, they'll either use the child as a way to save a relationship, or they will, whoops, I'm going to have a baby. Let's get back together now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those two scenarios play out.
Yeah. The next reason why you shouldn't get back together with your ex is that dating and finding someone else is just not going well. So it's easy to fall back. They're an easy option, or maybe you're lonely. There's that familiarity, right? So people will go back because they can't find anybody else. They're lonely. They don't like to be alone.
I think this is kind of a guy thing. I think. I mean, this sounds, at least coming from me, I guess it sounds like a guy thing, because I've done this back long time ago. It was like before I was married and all that kind of stuff. So don't hate me, ladies. But I broke up with a girlfriend, and the relationship game was just stagnant for months, and then ended up seeing the girl at, I think it was at a baseball game or a softball game or something to that effect. And then we started talking, next thing you know, and saying, well, why don't we get back together and hook up? And we did. Well, obviously that didn't last, because I ended up marrying someone else. So, yeah, all the old stuff came right back. It was like nothing ever changed. Those 4 months that we were apart didn't exist. So everything that we had in the first go around was bad in the second go around. And then there was resentment.
Because you weren't good. Exactly. So there you go. You don't get back together because you're lonely or you're horny, or, you know, not a good enough reason to make it work, right?
No.
The third reason not to get back together is the ex, to prove that you can. It can be an ego thing, but I can get them back. And actually, somebody posted on my post that I had posted on social media to get some ideas of whether you should go back or not. One person said, yeah, I did once just to say, haha, you're going to miss this good sex. Remember this good sex. And now you're going to miss it.
Well, it's one thing, that's, yeah, if it's good, great, awesome, cool. Just because you think it's good, though, doesn't mean they do. They might not.
Doesn't mean they did.
You might have had the time of your life. Thought it was the greatest thing since whatever. And he or she may be sitting there thinking, wow, this is boring. This is the same thing each
tag on toes, kind of boring. Yeah. But yeah, I think for some people it's like it's like to prove that they can get them back, right? Fourth reason why you shouldn't get back together with your ex is your gut is saying no. No, you know that you shouldn't. And you can't, but you try to justify reasons as to why you should, but your gut is really screaming at you. No, you know it's bad. You know it's a bad idea, but you go against it. You can't logic your way back into a relationship. What are you laughing about?
Well, because it's just like this. This seems to be that conversation that happens inside of everybody's head. Like your gut says no, but you're going to go do it anyways, whether it be because it was good or it's like each one of these don't do it's are like one part of the last one. Yeah, it seems like every one of these are like character traits or not even that. Maybe let's go with thinking errors. Like the first one, second one, third one, and now the fourth one. They're all thinking errors that lead you back into that relationship, whether it be, oh, I know I could get him back and I'm going to show him I can get him back and it was good, so I want it back. And then you get to this one here. It seems like they're all critical thinking errors that kind of lead to Nowheresville. And I'm laughing because I've gone through at least two of them already.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that I could probably, yes, it is. Forbidden fruit is always sweeter. I think for me, well, I'll wait till I do number 5. Number 5, the fifth reason why you shouldn't get back together with your ex is they were really awful to you or for you. Maybe they were emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, physically abusive. Maybe you didn't like the person that you were when you were with them. And it was really just a bad, toxic, maybe dangerous situation. So that one's kind of an obvious, but it shows self-awareness, right? All of these self-awareness.
That number 5 though, it's kind of, that should have been the reason why you broke up in the first place. And if you broke up for that reason, chances are going back to them, no matter what the reason is probably a bad idea. It's probably a toxic situation you'd go back to. Like I said, I went back to a relationship after a 4-month layoff, and it went right back to where it was. In fact, it got worse because there was resentment. Whether she resented me because she thought I was messing around with, a bunch of other girls at the time, or I resented her because she was out whoring around, whatever it was.
Yeah.
This, and how many times have you seen it where you can see it in other people even? It was like when you're one-on-one with one of your friends, and then as soon as their significant other comes around, they're like a completely different person.
Yeah. I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah.
I've seen that quite a bit, especially in softball. Playing City League softball, the guys getting together, we're playing ball, we're having a good time, drinking some beers, just letting things go. Next thing you know, the wife shows up or the girlfriend shows up, and now they're no longer hanging out with the guys and drinking beers. They're up there in the stands between innings, hanging out with the girlfriend or the wife. And they're completely different. They're just like everything they were doing before they showed up was non-existence. That's not the person they are. They're the person that's like, yes, dear, you want me to go get you a hot dog in between innings? I'll run up and get it for you. Boom, whatever. Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot.
Well, you would probably see it as a guy hanging out with guys.
Yeah.
Usually if you see it with women, there's something really not good going on. Very controlling. You'll see them get very quiet, and that is usually a hint that it's an abusive relationship. So
yeah, I've seen that on that side too, especially with my sisters. Seeing different types of relationships that they've had, I've seen that kind of reaction. But on the other side of that, I've also seen women just this happens a lot in like younger, like 20s, early to mid 20s, where the girl's with her friends and the guy's around. She treats him like shit, making fun of him or whatever, just to get giggles and laughs out of the girls. But then when and then guys, they do the same thing, in that early, like I said, now theirs goes from like 19 to almost 40. They'll do the same thing. They will, their wives differently when their buddies are around. But then as soon as they're alone, that stops. So
yeah,
as well, and that's in a way that's a form of abuse as well.
It is, absolutely. For me, I think number 4, that when your gut says no. So the time that I did go back to my ex, it was my ex-husband. My son, so my husband had left just before my son turned 1. And then almost 3 years later, he came to me one day and said that he had made a big mistake, that I was the best thing ever, and that he still loved me, and that he wanted me to move back with him. And it was sort of one of those things. I completely broke down because I think sometimes it wasn't my idea to leave. He left, he just left suddenly, and my son was 11 months old. And I think for maybe a lot of people, that's something that you would wish to hear, that we weren't divorced, but we were separated, and to come back and say he made a big mistake and that he still loved me and I was the best mother ever and all of this stuff, and wanted me to move back. And I did. And of course, one of those reasons was because we had a child together. But, somewhere in my gut, in the back of my mind, I thought, I was actually very, very happy. I was very happy as a single mom, and we had a pretty good co-parenting relationship. I still cared for him and loved him very much. I mean, I knew him from the time I was 15, but there was something saying, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. And, but I did, because part of the reason was, another thing was financial. He wouldn't be able, he was paying support, but he hadn't been working for a while, so it was going to affect that. So I sort of felt like I didn't have a choice. So I did. We moved back, and he was really hot to get back to where we were. And I still had that, you expect me to forget everything that happened and just jump right back into bed and just act like we're a married couple again. And that was really hard. And I guess eventually he just didn't want to wait for that anymore, and he just met somebody else.
Right.
And then eventually I moved out. And but yeah, so that's the only, I did get back. Well, with him, I actually got back together with him several times because I knew him from the time I was 15. He was like my first, so years would pass and then we'd come back together, and years would pass and we'd come back together. So I don't know, I guess there is some lesson to have each other in our lives forever. But that was one time where, my gut was sort of and my best friend was like, are you crazy? Why are you doing this? And I was justifying to her why it was a good idea. So, exactly that. I was my gut said no, but I was justifying why I should. So,
I think sometimes even best friends will go the other route too. Maybe if you're split up, maybe it's the pressure from your buddies, your friends that say, hey, maybe you should stay with that person. Maybe you should get back with them because you guys were so good together. Well, they see something differently than maybe you see. So they kind of push you towards that as well. I know that's happened to, I wouldn't say that happened to me that exact way, but it was similar. It was very similar. I mean, my best friend, I sat down, I talked to him about what had happened and what had gone on. And he basically told me, dude, you're a dumbass. Go talk to her. You need to talk to her. And had I not listened to him and actually not, if I would have just said, screw you, I don't need to talk to her, whatever. No, we wouldn't be together. But because his kind of pushing me to go talk to her, that's really what kind of started it. And then, of course, her saying, let's talk. But it's our friends are very influential, whether they believe they are or not, or whether you believe they are or not. Your friends are extremely influential on whether or not you stay with somebody or get back together with somebody or leave them.
They can be. I mean, she wasn't, obviously, because I did go back, but the good thing was, I mean, she had great reasons why I shouldn't, and it wasn't because, she was friends with both of us, so it wasn't like, she was on my side and didn't like him. I mean, she was friends, but she was pulling out facts of the way my life was and how happy I was. And so anyway, yeah, that was my story. It all ended fine anyway. So, but yeah, I held out, and I guess I just really wanted him to really prove. I wanted him to pay for what he had done and not make it so easy to just, okay, like, let's just pretend we're married again. And like, there was nothing that happened. And, so I don't know if I had just went, okay, like, let's just,
And that thinking,
I don't know what would have happened, but.
And that thinking is wrong too, because you said, come on back. That to him is saying, I forgive you, come on back. And then when you held out and you pushed it away and pushed him away, that's really one of those, that's how he saw it. That's his perspective of what was going on. So you probably did the right thing, because I think you're better off now with where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I obviously was like that for a reason. I mean, because I didn't want to. I knew I didn't want to. And I remember just crying and crying and crying. I was so upset. And I guess that was, because I didn't want to. I was perfectly happy where I was. But, we are great friends. And he will come over and sit in the back and have a beer. And, like, we talk very well. And, but he's, God, as long as my siblings have. So, I'm lucky that we have a really good co-parenting relationship, and it's all fine. So, yeah.
So what are some reasons that we need to get back together? What are those 5 reasons to get back together?
So the 5 reasons, the first one is you've learned from time apart. Your communication style has changed. Maybe you don't have those triggers, you don't have those old patterns, you've matured. And I think you can look at that if you've had years apart. Maybe it's been 5 years, maybe it's been 10 years. Maybe you were really young, you were, 19, 20, and now you're meeting and you're like in your 30s and you've gone through a little bit of stuff, you've learned a little bit. Maybe you repeated those things in other relationships, because wherever you go, there you are. And you are the common denominator in all your relationships. And if you keep going from one to another and you keep having those same issues, look at yourself. Look at yourself and how you react with things. So, you've learned from time apart. That could be a good reason to get back together. You can think back to that relationship and go, oh, yeah, I see. I was a real asshole. That's why we had a problem. Or maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was them, but we can all improve and get better, right? I'm sure we're all good. All of us can trigger people.
Yeah, I don't think it takes years, really. It could take as short as a few weeks even, especially if you come to the conclusion that, well, I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm just going to put it out there. We're going to communicate. We're going to just wash it all out, figure out where the dirt was, and we're going to get rid of it all. And if she wants me back, she wants me back. If she don't, she don't. I mean, that's how mine worked out, basically.
I think it's possible, but I don't think most people can be that way. Like, I don't think most people, after a few weeks, they could completely, be all good with getting back together and not be the same or be triggered the same or react the same or communicate the same. Like, I think definitely can, because everybody's different. So yeah, I think time apart, and as long as you learn from it, absolutely. The second reason why you should get back together is you're both willing to work at it. If you both decide, yeah, we're going to work at it and we're going to communicate, if it's, you don't get back together and you're kind of hoping it's going to work. Well, you don't want to kind of hope it's going to work. You both sit down and go, yeah, we had something, and let's both make an effort. Let's work on it. Let's do what it takes.
Yeah, because, hope and a prayer does not save a relationship. But, and we discussed this before, it's not always 50-50. Sometimes it's 70-30. Sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 90-10. It's not always 50-50. But if you come to the agreement, if you can communicate well enough with each other, then absolutely. It's one of those things that, the last two, the first one was basically communication. The second one was basically about communication. We're kind of creating a trend here. Yeah. So I can't hear what the third one is.
Third one is life wasn't working and they were the easiest thing to push away. Maybe just so stuck. Uh-oh. Nothing seems to be going right.
Where did you go, Lynn?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I'm here.
So life wasn't working, and you is the third one. So we're just going to kind of see if Lynn can come back.
No way. I'm here.
At some point.
Can you hear me?
Maybe. Anyways. Okay, she's just bounced out. She's going to try to come back in. Bear with us just for a moment. Here she comes. And you, Lynn. There she is. All right.
So, I was totally here.
No, you were not.
Oh, well, I could see me and hear me.
No, you were gone. It was like history. You remember a couple of weeks back where I had the problem on Be Live and it was gone? I could see me, hear me. I could hear you, see you. Nobody could in Facebook. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're all back. Yes. Life wasn't working and they were the easiest thing to push away. And I've seen this with people, like just nothing seems to be going right. And they're just feeling really overwhelmed and down, and they just push the other person away thinking that that is the thing that needs to change. And usually it's a really rash knee-jerk decision. Like you just need to, because they're desperate for something.
Yeah, I have nothing for this one.
No, me neither, because I have seen that happen though. I have seen people do that. And I think that is really a desperation mode. But usually, if you can realize it quickly, like, oh shit, like I made a really rash decision. That wasn't the right thing to do, and to discuss it. But then you're going to risk, you've broken the trust. So, but I have seen that happen. Number 4, your life goals have grown more similar. Maybe one of you wanted kids, the other one didn't want kids. Maybe one of you, dreamt of living in the city and the other one wanted to live in the suburbs. Maybe, whatever the case may be. But maybe your life goals have kind of moved closer together now. Now you're kind of, maybe now you both want kids, or maybe you've decided that both of you don't, or maybe you do want like a whole baseball team, and what do you do?
You froze like this, so I just figured I'd put my head on your head since it feels that way.
It's so annoying. I hate that freezing. God.
Yeah, and I I think that happens more often than not, where they finally come to that agreement, where they find that common denominator that they both believe in, and it's typically boils down to what brought them together in the first place. People, as relationships go, people grow apart, whether it be because of a career or because one wants children, like the other one doesn't, whatever the reason is. Once people start coming back together and kind of finding that reason that they got together in the first place, that typically seems to be where the spark reignites. At least that's what I've seen through my relationships, through my parents' relationships, even, things like that. So
I think life goals are a big one. I think that people have different ideas of what they want, but as you go through life a little bit and you change, you realize, goals change all the time. And, if you had a great relationship and everything was really good, you communicated well, you had fun, your sex life was great, but you just wanted down the road two totally different things. If you still have that, but your goals are much more similar or the same now, hey, to me, that's a fantastic reason. And then the other one that's quite common, the last one, 5, is fear, and run away. Fear of commitment, abandonment issues. It's just
because of fear. I don't get that one at all. Actually, that one to me sounded horrible. There's fear should never be the reason that you do something. I'm afraid that.
No, that's the reason they left.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason they left. And maybe that's not an issue anymore. They had the fear, they were fearful, and they ran away from it. But now they've worked through it, and
so I did.
Maybe again, it was great.
And when I looked at it, I thought it was because the fear part was the whole fear of like being alone, type of thing. And I didn't understand it. My left hemisphere didn't communicate correctly with my right hemisphere, and I got all discombobulated and stuff. But now, see, this is why
we talked about that.
This is why you're on this show, is because you got to, keep things, straight. I can't do it.
Stephanie, darling, thanks. What did Stephanie just say? I didn't catch all of it.
So can still love someone, but just nothing in common. Maybe never did, but it's passion, or did they, or they did, but changed over time.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably, I'm a little dyslexic sometimes, so that's probably how I misunderstood what number 5 was all about. So yeah.
You can still love somebody deeply and just have nothing in common. Absolutely.
Oh, sure.
And I think you can still learn from that somehow. There's something that you're going to carry away with you, because there was a reason that you connected with them, something, or maybe just really good sex. That's hard to leave.
That is hard to leave, but
doesn't matter how bad it is.
How many times have you heard someone say, I will always love you because you're the father of my children, or the daughter of my, or the whatever. There's always going to be that bond or that love or whatever. Is that love really, or is that just something you say when you're trying to say, hey, I love you, but I don't want you?
I think you can. I think some people, you can. But there's just, I don't know, maybe that's bad timing, and maybe, I don't know. But I think you can. I think there can be something there. It's just all doesn't work. Like, it's just.
I just don't feel that you can love someone and not be with them. It's like you kind of got to have the whole package. It's got to be everything. You got to love the person and what they do and their faults and everything that's good, everything that's bad, everything. Problem with that is some people fall in love with the sex only, or they fall in love with the finances only, or they fall in love with the the child, the ability to raise their children, and they fall in love with an aspect of what that other person represents, but they don't actually fall in love with the person themselves. So I think that's why I don't like that whole concept of just loving somebody, but I can't be with you. I love you, but I'm out of here. You know,
Well, and that could be that you have different ideas about things and different goals and all of that stuff. I think that's where she's coming from on that. But yeah, it can't be conditional. It has to be unconditional. Absolutely. And I think the other important thing is that, did I freeze again and now you're laughing at me?
Yeah. Stephanie,
So
screenshot this so she can see it.
No!
This is,
If it's really bad,
no, this is
no.
You're laughing, and it's so awesome. You know how you say certain people have an infectious laugh? Well, you have an infectious face. I'm sorry.
Oh man, got to do something about this situation and this freezing. It's annoying as hell.
Oh, well.
And now I lost my train of thought because I'm looking at you laughing.
I'm sorry.
Now I can't remember what I was going to say. Shit.
Oh, Stephanie, help us out. Oh, wow.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you are.
Oh God. Let's just wrap up this fucking show because that pisses me off.
Oh, that's how we end the show, folks. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to get the fuck out of here because it pisses Lynn off.
Oh my God. Oh, Stephanie, thank you. That just made me think of the last point I wanted to make.
Oh, we're back.
Really
important. We got to restart the show now. Hold on. All right, what's the thing you're thinking of?
Thank you, Stephanie. I think the important thing is that we have to be realistic about what we have. We can't place people like on a pedestal and love them what we think they can be. It has to be for who they are now. And I think that's what gets a lot of people in trouble is you love the idea of who you think that person can be. Oh, thanks, Stephanie. Jeez.
That is awesome. This is why I love every one of our audience members is because they have fun and we have fun.
Yeah.
And
yes.
So thank you very much, Stephanie, for getting that screenshot. This is going to be a new marketing photo for.
Oh, good. You buggers. You buggers. Anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody that commented on my post about this topic. Should you get back together with your ex? It was great. I loved reading the stories. They were very heartwarming. Not what I expected. I think, we all have, just as much as we all have room for improvement and to grow and to be a better version of ourselves all the time. I think that exists. That possibility exists with an ex. You were drawn to them for a reason, and you're freaking laughing at me again.
No. See,
okay, we got to wrap this freaking show up.
Christian says that was a great place for a freeze frame. I mean, come on. Come on. That was.
I got to see this.
What's going on, Christian? Thank you for checking this out, man. That's awesome.
Oh, man. What are you going to do with this picture?
Oh, I have no idea. But
Stephanie's got to send it to you, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was great. Thanks you, everybody that commented on this topic of getting back together with your ex. That, it was good. It was interesting. I think it was really eye-opening on what people think and awareness, self-awareness. Because I was really thinking that people are just really reactive, especially nowadays. Should you get back together with your ex? Hell no. But people had really well thought out comments. I loved it. So thank you everybody for commenting and joining in.
Yeah, I'm still just stuck on this whole thing about the face. But anyways, thank you very much everyone who chimed in. who's playing along, who's laughing along. We like to have fun, but at the same time, we like to start the conversation. So we did our part. So now it's time for you to take the conversation to the next level. So until next time, everybody, thank you for watching. We will catch you on Friday night with our free for all.
For all.
Right. I caught it right. I knew what I was going to say. But we will be back Friday night, tomorrow night. And
That's right.
Your questions, your comments, come along for the ride. Let's have some fun. And who knows where it's going to go. It could go anywhere because it's free
anywhere.
It's free for all.
Free for all. Whatever the hell you want to talk about.
So we will catch you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for watching.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Hey, I'm trying to push the end button and it won't stop. Holy crap.
End.
Let us stop. It's still